Hey everyone, I'm Brandon. Today I'm going to be talking about don't set a personal best, win the race. So, yes, as I mentioned, I'm Brandon. Thanks for the intro, Jetty. I've been in the industry for a bit over 10 years now. Like Jetty mentioned, I started in more UX and product design and have transitioned to the dark side of product now. It's good to be here. But the reality is, in all of my roles, I have fundamentally done the same thing, and that's what I'll talk about today. So just keep me away from Figma because I'm out of practice and I will detach instances from your components. So I work at Askable. Some of you may have heard of us. We were born out of an innovation lab in a Brisbane agency, initially disrupting the research participant recruitment space, and now we tackle all things getting in the way of unlocking insights at scale. And I know that many of our customers are here today as well, so thank you for all coming. But enough about me, let's talk about you. So whether you have product in your title or not, if you're working on a product of any kind, this presentation is for you. So our job as product people is to bridge this gap, gathering deep customer understanding and finding opportunities that drive real business outcomes. The impact of this approach is exponentially higher than randomly brainstorming features that might impact customers. So each of these is like a trapdoor that takes you out of the race. The competitor trap. So looking at competitors for inspiration, focusing on what's missing, or what shiny competitive features that are out there, and what it results in is you always playing catch up and you're never leading the race. The assumption trap. So you may hear phrases like, we know our customers want this, users obviously need feature parity, this worked for insert other company name, it'll work for us. But the result is building on guesses, not evidence. The board and exec trap. So our biggest competitor just launched X, we need to do it too. Quarterly board meetings that are driving the feature priorities, executive opinions that become product requirements. Building for the boardroom, not the customer, is the problem there. And then finally, the quant trap. So over-relying on metrics without context. It might be something like conversion is down 2%, we need to fix the funnel by doing X. Treating symptoms, not understanding the root causes. So we lead to optimizing the wrong things or things that aren't going to have the impact that we think they are. Does that sound familiar? So quick show of hands, who checked out their biggest competitor and what they shipped this week? There's a few, I can see, yep. It's actually a good thing, it's not that bad. It's important to keep tabs on what they're doing, but don't fall into the trap of feeling like you're behind. Let's sidestep them. I actually think everyone in this room has a huge part to play in shaping the future. The future is bright. Disruption itself only happens for a very good reason, and it's because somebody removes friction and gives people what they actually need. So we originally created Askable because research participant recruitment was hard, it was slow, and it was expensive, and we were sick of it. So the winning formula is understand your customers, understand your competitors' customers, and identify your unique value proposition. It's pretty easy, right? Everyone wants to do this, but what most people end up doing is what I call the evaluative loop. So these traps are what feed that evaluative loop. It's like running and looking at your own feet. Once you fall into any of these traps, you'll get stuck in this cycle. So what people will typically do is they'll react to stimulus. That might be competitor feature, a executive request, metric drop, or an assumption. What they'll do is they'll go and generate ideas. How can we fix that? How can we match this? How can we improve this? And then they'll start designing and prototyping. They'll create a solution of some kind. They'll test what they have already decided to build at that point. And then they'll optimize the solution that you've already really committed to. And then you'll do that on repeat. Next week, next quarter, it's just the next stimulus, same cycle. So the trap is that you're always evaluating solutions and never generating insights. You can't step back to question whether you're solving the right problem because you're too busy optimizing the wrong solution. So here, how does the evaluative loop keep you trapped? It's reactive, not proactive. So you're always responding to external stimuli instead of driving your own insights. It's solutions first thinking. So you're jumping into some solution before understanding the problems worth solving. You introduce confirmation bias because testing just validates pre-decided solutions rather than exploring unknowns. And resource lock-in. Once you start building, the pressure mounts to justify the investment, and you get that sunk cost fallacy. So, but really the problem is there is no time for generative research, which it's more like we don't have time for research, we need to ship. So this is the moment where half of you are probably thinking, oh, fuck, that's me. And the other half are probably thinking, oh, thank God that's not us. But the spoiler is, it probably is you too, and not for a bad reason. This is hard. So typically if you're stuck in that evaluative loop, you'll move from a 3.4 to a 3.5. Congratulations, you've just set your personal best. But we want to do more than that. So how do we actually win the race? So generative research, for those of you who don't know, is exploring the unknown. Understand the user's world and experience to identify problems and opportunities for innovation versus testing existing solution, which is evaluative research. So today we're talking mostly around generative research. Generative research is gold. It's like looking up while you're running and seeing all the possible paths. But here's why teams don't do it. It's often slow. It takes 2 to 4 weeks from planning through to insights, which makes a bottleneck because for it to have its effect, it has to be done before anyone puts pen to paper. And because it has a fixed time that you're working within, that 2 to 4 weeks, we have to narrow our scope in what we're exploring, which introduces biases because we're exploring within that scope, which we've already kind of decided that there's a problem space there as well. So enter continuous discovery habits. So this is the idea of talking to customers regularly to build ongoing understanding. The promise is weekly customer conversations, ongoing insight generation, reduced assumptions and biases, and better product decisions. But the reality is recency bias. Talking to 1 to 2 customers per week is like asking your mum what she thinks about your product and then adjusting your roadmap based on that. Sample size issues. So small numbers don't give statistical confidence you and your stakeholders need. So often, like even if you are talking to people, you're learning things, no one's going to trust that. The synthesis bottleneck. So this is actually one of the hardest parts of everything. Like you can have heaps of conversations, but what do you do with that? So converting those into actionable insights takes significant time and skills. Access constraints. So finding and scheduling diverse participants consistently is very challenging, and that's why Askable originally existed. Context switching. So we all have jobs to do. So jumping between customer conversations, product decisions, your design work, whatever you're doing to move that product forward is hard, and it creates fragmented thinking. Oh, I've clicked the wrong button there. But the real problem is we don't have capacity. We all have very demanding jobs, and to get into this, it's quite difficult to create that time. So even with the best intentions, continuous discovery often becomes another version of the evaluative loop, but just with customer quotes as well. So you and your team only have a fixed amount of capacity, but AI has entered the chat and has enabled us to amplify our efforts. So generative research at scale is possible in the form of AI native researchers that can transform every part of the research process. So firstly, on the planning side, we can use AI to help us intelligently design our research through everything from screeners to find the right participants through to the objectives and getting your discussion guide broadly established. From there, AI can now conduct our interviews for us as well. So we can use AI to talk to real humans, a diverse range of humans for statistical significance. It's low touch, it's scalable, and it's open-ended and participant-led, which is the most important part. We're not scoping down our research. We can truly explore their experiences and understand how they're experiencing your product and other products out there. And there's no fixed discussion guide, so it's not limiting that discovery at all. On the analysis and synthesis side, we can use AI for automated pattern recognition. So we can get evidence-backed insights and everything's traceable back to the source. We have dynamic reporting that we can use to engage stakeholder formats. And we can have multiple interaction modes with using AI. So that may be chat interfaces, cutting up clips for us, and also interactive dashboards to keep a live view of the customer as well. And then finally, access. So having access to insights at your fingertips is probably the best thing you can do when you're going into a meeting or you're making a decision. Being able to ask a question and the answer is already there. If you're running continuous research, you're able to get the answer before you even have the question. So this sounds amazing in theory, and it can be in practice, but you need to be very deliberate about how you approach it. So when using AI for product decisions that can affect real customers and real business outcomes, several critical risks can emerge that most teams don't anticipate. So when I mentioned the AI moderator before, there is a moderation risk. Does it understand our specific context? Does it follow research best practices? Does it treat participants with care and empathy? There's the hallucination risk. I've got a funny story about this one. If you can find me afterwards, we can chat about it. I'll be at the Askable booth. But ensuring accurate evidence-backed insights can be traced back, verification through video moments and source materials, and using proven tools with strong guardrails as well. There's the bias risk, so understanding data bias sources, implementing appropriate guardrails, and maintaining task focus throughout the analysis. And then there's always that team pushback as well. So addressing job security concerns and demonstrating value, not replacement. So the good news is these can be overblown. So through building products in this space, we've learned that many initial concerns about AI research are actually misconceptions, or they can at least be addressed as well. So a lot of people seem to just accept the fact that hallucination is part of AI and can't be addressed. But with proper tooling and verification processes, we can eliminate the hallucination risks. AI models contain, sorry, I'm going the wrong one. Participants prefer human moderators. The reality is that participants through our research often prefer that speaking to an AI because they feel less judged. They're not looking at a human on the other end when they're talking about things that may not paint them in the best light. It also opens it up that you no longer require humans to meet at a time with another human, which is usually within business hours. So you can interview people who wouldn't typically you wouldn't have access to in other situations. AI models contain bias, so so do humans. But it's easier for AI to follow a set of instructions than a human. So you just need to be specific about those instructions, and you really need to make sure that that is set up properly, because that I guess is what will make or break it. Shit in equals shit out. And then finally, AI doesn't understand emotion. AI is better than you think at extracting emotional context from transcripts and a broader conversation pattern. But we're also exploring multimodal AI to identify other emotional cues like video feeds and images and things like that. Sorry. So look, I work at Askable. I could easily stand here and pitch our product, but that would be boring and you'd tune out. So instead, here are some hard questions that you should ask any platform, including us, if you're talking to us about this. So How do you ensure moderation, quality, and participant care? What verification processes prevent hallucination? How do you handle bias and maintain research integrity? And what evidence can you provide for each insight generated? There are a lot of bold claims out there, but it's important to be informed when diving into any of these AI tools. Some people fear that AI research threatens their role, and I'd challenge that. This doesn't replace us. It makes us better at our jobs. We're just focused on the wrong things right now. So what we actually need is quality insights delivered fast so we can build better products and make decisions faster with confidence. The real opportunity is to learn how to leverage AI to automate the mundane work and pick up more strategic work. As AI capabilities grow, we'll be asked to do more with less. And our fundamental job remains the same. It's identify and prioritize, ship things that have larger impact with fewer resources. So the teams that embrace this will thrive, and the teams that resist this will get left behind. So my race day strategies is stop chasing competitors, invest in generative insights, embrace AI as an amplifier, manage the risks of AI, and focus on strategic value. And don't set a personal best. Win the race. Thank you.